the global trade ecosystem is a very niche market and very protected market. So some industry or some angels or any investor understanding this market is also very, very limited. Okay. The second thing is that because it's very niche, many investors doesn't know how this market really works. Okay. But I'll give you one interesting point. According to 𝗙𝗎𝗂, International Chambers of Commerce, they predicted that if you completely digitalize the global trade ecosystem, the additional value created by such an automation is 6 trillion additional business or additional value.
Hey everyone, I welcome all of you to the Founders Spotlight series from 𝗙𝗏𝗄, where we invite early stage startup co-founders to share their journey, some sort of insights and advice to the youngsters who have startup dreams. Well, today with me is Mr. John and Mr. Antony, who are the founders of Blychain. Hi John, hi Antony, how are you doing today?
Greetings.
Good.
Antony is the founder. I just want to make sure that's clear.
Sure. Great. I welcome you both on behalf of 𝗙𝗏𝗄 family, and thanks for making some time out of your busy schedule. Well, my name is 𝗙𝗎𝗄𝗏𝗍, and I am heading the entire startup vertical over here. So now let's get started with some of the interactions now. Okay. To start with, Antony, this question is for you. I would love to understand the backstory. What was the trigger behind starting this startup called Blychain, and what is Blychain all about?
Great. Thanks, Subayan, for having us for this interview. Let me give you a little bit background, and then I'll come back quickly on the story. I've been with 𝗙𝗏𝗄𝗏 for 15 years. One of my core strengths was process automation, data, and application integration. That was my core strength when I was working at 𝗙𝗏𝗄𝗏. In the early 2019, I had a workshop invitation from one of the shipping agency in southern part of India to automate their port call operation. So it was planned for an half a day, and then we spent one full workshop to completely understand the port call automation of that shipping agency. And in the end of the day, I realized that the shipping agency is a lower part of the pyramid on the global trade. And if their operation is so complex, imagine the complete end-to-end supply chain or trade ecosystem. And end of the workshop, I asked the question, will that be a problem? Is something which I can solve? Then when I looked at the maritime trade ecosystem, there are two key problems which I identified, which is a lack of seamless integration across various stakeholders and a digital divide between small and medium and large enterprises. And that is where the inception of Blychain Network is started to solve that, make sure that the integration across the whole ecosystem goes smoothly, and we should able to give affordable solution to every enterprises regardless of their size.
Sure. Great to hear that, Antony. If I may ask you this, in another 1 year down the line, 12 months down the line, what is going to be the most exciting part in your journey of Blychain? What would be that answer?
Okay. So one of the key important thing is that the maritime trade ecosystem is a network of business. So though we have various applications, last December, we launched an application called LSP World, a platform where all the logistic stakeholders can communicate and find who is my other partner if they wanted to deal with that one. So in the next 12 months, what me and John or the Blychain team is trying to do is that onboard as much as stakeholders or logistics service provider across the globe on this product or the platform called 𝘆cie_world.pamphlet.cloud and enable them to exchange the business in the global across the value chain.
Sure, sure. Great to hear that. If I can understand a bit more from your side in terms of the impact of AI, right, and your ecosystem in today's world, what exactly has happened? Would love to hear from your side in terms of the impact of AI.
Yes, I think that's a fantastic question, right? So the AI, if you take it in a generative AI, and it is very, very narrow, right? We don't believe much enough generative AI, but Blychain Network, we strongly believe in agentic AI. So we are building an agentic AI platform called Freight AI. Because today, if I'm a shipper, let's say I want to ship some container from, say, Dubai to, say, Los Angeles or anything else, I come to an AI and say, I want to ship this one, give me the best route and the best shipper, best price, and that agent should able to give them the best route, and then they should able to book as well as track in our Freight AI using agentic AI. And that we've been working on, because the agent is going to disturb in terms of end user. In this case, what we are really focusing on is a shipper. So we are building a very user-friendly AI-based tool for them to search, book, and track their cargo across the globe.
Understood. Quite interesting. Now, this is the question which I more or less ask most of the startup co-founders, right? In terms of fundraising journey, right? I can see that Blychain is at the moment bootstrap company, if I am not wrong, right? And would love to hear from your side, what is your philosophy behind fundraising, the why and when of fundraising? That's very, very critical for most of the early stage co-founders, right? Would love to understand the why and when of fundraising from your side.
Okay, so the fundraising is important for that everybody. Why answer is very clear for us to expand the business globally. The thing is that today we are trying to address the small and medium enterprises. So our platform called Pamphlet Cloud is ready, right? But since this is a global trade network system, the platform should reach globally. So we have our presence in headquarters in Houston, US. Then we have our presence in Paris to address the Europe. We have our presence in Bangalore to address the Asia market. So we wanted to grow globally at the same time, otherwise, because it's a global trade system. And that is why this is a time for us to raise the fund. Okay, so that's one of the reasons to grow business across the globe, because one of our greatest strategy is to focus on the G20 countries, which takes care of 70% of the global trade. For us to move into the global G20 countries, first we focus on 3 areas: US or North America, Europe based in France, and then Asia based in Bangalore or in India. So that is where the fund is needed, or we are trying to expand our business. The second one is that if I'm asking, that is the challenges you are asking. One is why. The second one is
and when is the right time?
We are immediately looking for, because the product is already ready. We have almost 4,900 logistics service provider in our LSP world within the very short launch of our 𝘆cie_world.com, now our pamphlet.cloud. Now these are all a potential paid customers for our SaaS platform of Pamphlet Cloud. So we need a fund to convert these free customers into paid versions of some of our applications.
Sure. That's wonderful. From a very general context, right? If you have to suggest any early stage co-founders, when should be the right time for him to even think about to go for fundraise for the first time? What would be that answer?
Okay. First thing, what I have seen is that any investor, for that matter, that revenue is the key point. I think that is where they feel that your ideation or your product idea is come to a real meaningful or use cases into the customer segment. So many times I would strongly recommend that when you go and meet investors at the very early stage, do you have your product verified and vetted in the market? And spend more time in that area than going and spending more time in raising fund. And that's one of the learning what I personally learned it in the early stages. And the more you spend with your customers and the industry, and then your product will reach out to the market. And then when you know that the product is started getting adapted by the market, you go to the investors and they will invest you.
Yeah, understood. Got it. Talking about your industry and from the context of your startup, right? What do you feel are the top two most challenging stuffs that you are addressing at the moment along with your team?
That's interesting because, see, the global trade ecosystem is a very niche market and very protected market. So some industry or some angels or any investor understanding this market is also very, very limited. Okay. The second thing is that because it's very niche, many investors doesn't know how this market really works. Okay. But I'll give you one interesting point. According to 𝗙𝗎𝗂, International Chambers of Commerce, they predicted that if you completely digitalize the global trade ecosystem, the additional value created by such an automation is 6 trillion additional business or additional value. Similarly, McKinsey has predicted that if you, in the next upcoming years, if you use the agentic and Gen AI, additional value could be $3 trillion. So the value addition by the global trade ecosystem is much higher in the next 3 years than the agentic AI. But the herd or the crowd on the AI investment is huge than the global trade ecosystem, because we are facing the challenge of investors understanding the trade ecosystem of the niche or the problem what we are trying to solve. And that one challenge what we are facing it. But at the same time, second is that industry adaptation of the technology is also a bit challenging when it comes to maritime trade because of the different different level of enterprises, small and medium, and these are all contractual businesses, right? Some people have already the business is going on, whether using the technology or not using the technology, so they continue to do that one. Now the COVID disturbed in some extent to adapt technology, but we are foreseeing that more people will adapt that one. The third challenge what I see in the industry is interoperability. You will see a very powerful system in ports, powerful system used by vessel operator, but you don't find such an operating our systems by any medium-sized companies. And all these systems are working in silos, right? So, but now there are a lot of initiatives by the associations of shipping companies, port agencies or ports, all of them are coming and come to the realization that we need to come to a standard and we need to set apart. And that is where Blychain opportunity is really at the right time, because industry realized that interoperability important and our solutions are following the standards. For example, one of the things is EFTA standard compliance is coming in Europe. Whereas if you subscribe to our Pamphlet Cloud, it is already built with EFTA compliance, so you don't have to worry about that one. So I believe that this is the right time for our trade ecosystem as the whole industry is promoting standards and interoperability. So 3 problems I would say that understanding of our industry by investors are very less investors understand the global trade or sea trade ecosystem. Second thing is that there is a lot of challenge in the small and medium enterprises adapting the technology. And third is interoperability across the system. And we are trying to solve. And I believe it's the right time for us to get into the market.
Got it. That was quite very much insightful, I would say. Yeah. One question for John. Hey, John, this question goes out to you. Since you have probably used the platform of Traction, right? In this entire journey of last few months, I would say, or maybe ever since you have begun the journey of any kind of market research, what was the role of a platform like Traction in your research part? I would love to understand from your side.
Yes, I think it helped us identify angel investors and investors that had some background in logistics and transportation. I think Anthony was correct in saying that a lot of them focus on the technology purely. And one of the things we want to make clear is that we're not competing. We're not a digital forwarder, so we're not competing with our core base of customers. We're a technology provider to them. And so I think that the platform Traction has been able to help us identify the sweet spots of where to focus in speaking with investors. So one of the things that Anthony was able to, his platform and our approach won an award in Dubai at the Captain's Table, which is based in Hong Kong. We were a global finalist in that competition. And so I think the message, getting that message out to, with Traction, I think we've got visibility to over 10,000 potential investors, right? So we've been focusing on the transportation, logistics, and trade potential investors that have experience in that place. And there are a few that focus on the maritime industry as well. So that's been quite helpful to us.
Wonderful, John. Great to hear that. I'll be just going back to Mr. Antony again. Antony, so if you have to give a message to all the youngsters, all the young startup co-founders who are in their late 20s, as you can understand, in today's world, there's a flurry of startups, right? Everyone is thinking about innovation, right? What would be your message to the young guns, either from India or from the global level?
Yeah, I think that there are three things what I would strongly recommend. One, find out whether there's a market opportunity. Is there a problem which need to be resolved? I think that is your first priority, right? First, if somebody needs your solution, that's your first problem to be identified. And the second thing what you need to ask is that, do I have the skill to solve the problem? That's the second important dimension, right? Because in the journey of your entrepreneurship, many people might come and join and leave. The only person who will lead the vision is you. So you should have an ability or skill to solve the problem. If not, then find some other co-founders who will accompany or who will fulfill some of the gap you have. And once you have this one, and then plan how to execute that one. So once you have a solid plan that it is possible to do that one, then you have only one thing: do or die. This is what I would say.
I think this piece of information goes out to all the all the youngsters, right, who will benefit from what you have told us just now, right? Talking about my last question for today. So this is like, since this interview will be viewed by not just the startups, but also by the investors, any sort of message that you would love to throw via this platform to the investors who you are seeking funding for?
Yes, I think many times investors does not know me or John. I think because that is one of the challenges as investors, you may not know both of us. But what I'm using this opportunity to tell you that we both have a solid experience. I have an experience in technology. I have experience in the various markets and other things. So you can count me on the building a platform as well as some of the market understanding. John comes with a similar more than 30 years of experience in logistics and sales and then various markets. So if you are believing that it is not about product and you believing that it is a team, we have other advisory also, right? We have a solid experience to build this platform, okay? That message I wanted to give you. You can trust on us and you can be part of us to build this global trade ecosystem. And when it comes to the business opportunity, this opportunity, you may not know about this one, but just search for global trade automation or ecosystem automation in the Google or anywhere else, or in the AI, you find that opportunity. So if you don't know, please just come and talk to us, and then you can rely on the right set of team to get you the best return in next 5 years. And if you reach out to us, and we can share you more details about the opportunity, and I'm pretty sure the investment will be further in your cap.
Thanks a lot, Antony. Great interacting with both of you, right? I wish I could have taken this conversation forward, but because of your busy schedule, we will have to cut short here. But thank you so much, John. Thank you so much, Antony, for joining us today on this conversation. Yeah, John, I think you have raised. Yeah.
I was just saying thank you for the opportunity. We appreciate the outreach and the audience. And just to echo one of the things Antony said, when we really listen to a customer, they're really saying, solve my problem, right? So if you look at the industry, it's kind of in buckets right now, but the customer doesn't see the world that way. They see the world from their point of view. And I think Antony has a terrific experience, and his vision is aligned with the feedback we get from our client base.
Right, absolutely. Great. Anything else, Antony, that you want to add before we?
No, I think that's all I have. I think it was nice talking to you, 𝗂𝗍𝗏, and thanks for your time.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much, friends. Stay tuned to us. We will be back very soon with some more insights with some of the fantastic startup co-founders across the globe. Okay. And we will be back very soon. Thank you so much, and stay happy, stay cool, stay calm. Thank you so much.